Hello and welcome back to Downtime Activities, and welcome back to our Edge of the Empire campaign, our single-player campaign with Will as Riden, the Shistavanin up-and-coming bounty hunter, who's just gotten a big job on the crime moon of Nar Shadaa. For those of you who don't know of Nar Shadaa, it is little Coruscant, and it is in Hutt-controlled space above, circling actually, Nar Shadaa, the capital planet, I suppose, of the Hutt Empire, or cartel, or whatever you want to call that.
Either one's probably accurate, actually.
And this job is to lift some strange gemstones from a one Gracchus the Hutt, who is the Hutt in control of Nar Shadaa. You know, I mean, everyone knows where his home is. His palace tower casino.
Oh, it's also a casino.
There's it's kind of like a, if you know somebody, it's a casino that you could go to.
See, now is the potential for us to Ocean's 11 this.
Of course, which is what you're most well suited
I'm
for.
Obviously the Danny Ocean of this party, and does that make Skull the Rusty of this party? Neither of us
Rusty's an appropriate nickname for a battle droid.
Neither of us have anywhere near the charisma to. We're the two demolitions expert mechanics brothers. Where they're racing where you first see them, they're racing a monster truck and a remote control monster truck.
Yes,
that's us.
That's you two. Exactly that.
Oh, okay, yeah. I didn't realize it was a casino.
Mm-hmm. So, like I said, there is a bar on one of the mid to lower levels of it. That's known about, but it's only people who really matter can go there. It's definitely a secure location that the upper echelon of the crime moon will drink and raise hell in. Occasionally, there's events there and gladiator fighting and stuff like that as well, but those are pretty few and far between. It's also, I'll just give you a brief rundown of the building, of what you know of it.
Right.
There are multiple landing pads attached outside of it. Well, really just one large one that has smaller ones that connect to it and kind of go into one of the mid levels of the thing. And it's kind of like a wide base, thin tower piece that kind of goes up to the different rooms and probably Gracchus's penthouse and stuff like that higher up on the top of this tower. But the kind of base itself has the casino location in it and that kind of stuff. And he's got, of course, his own private army moving around it. Mm-hmm. The kind of people who would frequent the establishment are rich or people who work for him. So, particularly well-to-do smugglers, bounty hunters, and the like would be occasionally seen hanging around. Picture Jabba's palace, but if Jabba lived in a city instead of out in Podunk desert town.
First, we should probably do the Destiny Point roll.
Destiny Point roll.
Which will give me another couple seconds to figure out what I'm doing. Just one force die, right?
Yep. One dark side.
One dark side.
Perfect. Good start.
Yeah. That is symbolic of the resources I have access to for this.
Which is negative resources.
Which is...
There are actual active resources against you and nothing else.
If... I don't really want to approach this thing from the ground level. I don't really want to approach this thing from the landing pad either to that degree. I'd kind of like to approach literally from the roof. My plan at the moment is kind of just see how far the stun setting gets. I think it's because, and that's more difficult moving in from the ground floor.
Mm-hmm.
Not only just there's going to be security systems kind of no matter what, but
you don't know if there's any roof access or anything like that. If you want a better idea of the building, you can definitely take a look at it from below, or like try and get a different viewpoint on it? There's other ways. I mean, whatever you can come up with to try and go about getting more information.
I'd like
to. Try and do.
Well, I'd also like to just talk to the people who hired me for this, and essentially just get like anything they can get for me on the building.
Okay.
Does it have a turret defense system? Are we going to be shot down if we try to get onto the roof? Like, or is it one of those things where like they don't really have one because most people are just like, why would I be dumb enough to try that?
Why would an idiot do that?
Do they have any idea where the vault is? Do they have any idea how to get into the vaults? Because there's kind of... I don't want to have to try and blast my way into the vaults. Because that's not quiet or subtle. Not that I'm necessarily quiet or subtle either, but that's taking it a step too far. But I don't have the like slicing or computer skills to try and hack my way in, which means I kind of either need an access code or I need a mechanical way to open or get into the vault. Which like also is just not going to be easy. I could maybe if I had enough time, I could cut into it. I do have a tool set. But that also seems... essentially just use the good old-fashioned arc cutter and cut my way into the vault. But that's not going to be a quick process. That's not something I can do in 30 seconds flat. So it's like... Mm-hmm. I would need enough time to do that. But, like, all of it's kind of a moot point if I don't know where the vault is or if I can't get into the building anyway. Like, if they're like, oh, yeah, it's actually in the basement, then I'm not going to land on the roof. That gives me the exact same problem as if I'd gone in the ground floor and it was on the top. So, if they know anything about it,
you can definitely... I don't remember exactly last time if you left off if you were still in the Nebula Syndicate headquarters or not.
I don't remember exactly either.
But either way, you can like reach out through your Nebula-branded comlink to get access to speak with them.
I am absolutely... Well, I could always take the thing with me because if I get caught, the game's up anyway for me. Who cares what happens to the people who hired me?
The basic gist of what you're going to be able to get from them, they are fairly confident that they don't know if it's locked in a vault or in like a viewing room or where these are at, but that they are probably near the top floor, if not on it. That they're probably attached in some way to Gracchus's penthouse, which is at the top of this
That's
tower.
Kind of what I'd figure.
There's not a like landing pad or anything at the top of this building. They say that there is like point defense weapons built on the outside of this, both along like the top piece as well as near the landing platforms of it. It's not like going to shoot anything out of the sky that flies near it, but if they were onto the fact that a ship nearby was doing something they didn't want to, they would activate them and have it target them. That the entire facility is more or less run by a gank named Vakril, who is kind of the chief of security for Gracchus.
I like ganks. They're predators.
Mm-hmm. Very predator-prey mindset, yeah. And that Vakril is like pretty well known to be like a fairly cruel calculating machine of a gank who's like his whole thing is he runs security and day-to-day operations there and is a somewhat of a force to be reckoned. So, what else would they be able to tell you? I mean, that's about what they can give you as far as, unless there's like specific questions that they can seek the answers to. It's kind of general defenses, like that they know that there is high-end security systems throughout. The higher up the tower you get, probably the more high-end and stuff of security systems are in place. And that there's like privates, like I said, there's like a small private army that Gracchus runs throughout the town, but that in the building itself there's multiple fairly well-armed private security officers, as well as probably a number of like bounty hunters or guns for hire that are going to be hanging around in some of the mid to lower levels that are just employees of Gracchus, who there would be the potential to be put against you.
Do you know anything about, or can you find out about the power supply? Does it have its own power? Is it?
They are confident that it's an internal and self-sufficient power supply by the nature of the building.
That'd make it a lot easier. If I could just shut down the power, but I don't know if that's going to be an option.
There's likely backup power throughout, but probably not for like the entire building, just for key systems or key pieces of the building.
Right.
They wouldn't be able to tell you which ones would have such.
But it'd probably make it a lot harder for like people to move around the building and stuff like that. I imagine if it has its own power system, it's probably fairly centrally located, and it's probably farther down, I would guess. Not that that helps me, unless can they find out if there are any... I mean, this whole planet's a city, and I know at least Coruscant has a lot of tunnels and underground structures and stuff like that. Like hundreds or thousands of floors, I think.
Excuse me.
If they can find out anything, if there's anything like that in that surrounding area, that would help. Because there would probably still be security, but it's not going to be the same as the ground floor security.
They said that they'll tell you that they're confident there's like tunnels and systems on like that would enter into the base floor of this for like the in and outs of supplies that are not dropped off via ship, and for like, laundry and trash and sewage and that kind of stuff. But there's almost certainly those systems they could try and get schematics and get like some level of specificity on what options you would have for something like that. But there's likely tunnels that would be somewhat guarded that would enter into the base level of the building.
I mean, if they can track that down, I'd appreciate it. If I can find something like that, I wouldn't mind a remote explosive of some kind, because then if I could get in there like the day before, quietly, we could just stick a bomb on the power generator, and then that way we're not racing the clock of like setting off, like sabotaging it, and then trying to get like back outside and back up top. I kind of have an idea as far as getting onto the roof goes, but like that doesn't necessarily take me any farther, especially as far as dealing with security. And
it's safe to assume that most of the penthouse top is going to be like transparent steel, which I think is the technical term for what like cockpits and stuff in Star Wars are made out of, and a lot of that kind of stuff. So like transparent metal, more or less. So it could be tricky to get through. Definitely possible, but that's something else to have to consider. And if you're approaching from the top, they don't know of any roof access or anything like that. I don't know if there's like a balcony or anything like that up there.
Probably shouldn't take Skull just because he's even more recognizable than I am. Even though I really want it.
And then the fighting breaks out.
Yeah.
They do say that the only ship that's there constantly is Gracchus's yacht. If that's something that's worth knowing. that ships come and go, that there's typically a couple of fighters or smaller ships that are landed on one of those that are like of some of the people that work for Gracchus, but that the only ship that's there consistently is a Botto-class star yacht that Gracchus peruses through town in sometimes.
I mean, that is useful information, just because if the yacht's gone, so is the Hutt, and probably a decent number of his security team.
At least his personal security, probably.
Which makes it easier. Yeah, if they can find out about any access tunnels or anything under any underground passageways, that kind of stuff, or if they can find, I doubt they'll find schematics for the building, but if they can find out anything about about its power supply, that would be useful as well. I think I could probably cut through the transparent steel.
I don't know how quiet it'd be, but you could almost certainly get through it.
Mm-hmm. Unless there's a balcony, in which case that just makes it easier. I'm going to, because I do eventually want the Ascension kit for my armor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go ahead and buy one and just get it, at least for the moment, mounted on my heavy blaster rifle.
Okay.
So that way, I just have it, because I think I might need it, and especially if I'm not bringing Skull with me. Why can I not remember where the calculator is? Which I believe is... I should double check that as well. I'm pretty sure is just 250, 350. So we'll do that as part of my prep while they're finding out what they can.
Mm-hmm.
And also tell them that one way or another, there's a good chance that I'm just going to want a brick of a remote detonate explosive of some kind.
They could definitely get a hold of something potent.
If you need specific
remote.
rules for that, there's a bunch in the hired gun expansion.
They can certainly track you down a high yield remote explosive that is well within a arms dealing crime syndicate's capabilities.
Right.
And probably about a day's time of going purchasing, getting this all mounted to your arm, during which they reach back out to you and say that they have 2 habitable tunnels that they could give you directions to get access into further away that would approach this. They don't know what the security looks like there, but that there are at least 2 that someone could move through. That aren't just tubes full of gas or something, or some horrible sludge fluid that you'd have to hold your breath and slide through for miles.
Hey, they'd never see it coming.
They never would. As Gracchus is on the toilet and then a hand reaches out from below and rips his guts out from the hole in his toilet. Of course, you never really want to be in the Hutt's toilet, right? That sounds horrible.
They're just weird creatures anyway, so I have no idea what their toilets look like, and it would probably be horrible.
It'd be, horrific. You could probably crawl through a Hutt's toilet. It's probably a pretty large hole. Anyway,
I have a little bit more self-respect than that.
They also are under the impression that the main power source for the building would be on the main floor, not being the base floor, but like the main floor where the like cantina bar area and stuff. It's likely on that floor. He said that looking through what they know of this building, and some like older schematics and stuff of the building it used to be before it was like upgraded and updated to the tower it is now, that they think that there's somehow attached vaguely close to where the landing pad would enter into the main floor. They think that there's probably kind of a lot of the technology of the building inside that area somewhere. They can't give you specifics, but they think that like a lot of the communications equipment, a lot of the power supply things, a lot of that kind of stuff is on the main floor.
That doesn't help me out much, because that means it's going to be extremely difficult to get to. Okay, back to square one. Dang. I just don't have any ability to socially infiltrate anything.
Could just intimidate your way as far as you make it, and then once it stops working, start blasting.
But I'd like to make it away before I have to start doing that. Is kind of my conundrum. I mean, I think I could probably get onto the roof. I kind of have an idea along that front. But, where do I go from there? Is the problem. How do I get out? There are like jump jets and like sort of gravity parachutes and kind of that type of stuff that exist. Maybe snag one of those if the syndicate can get I'm sure they can if they can get a hold of something like that. Something that would let me descend very far relatively quickly but safely, because I could descend very far very quickly.
The safety's not a concern. You can descend at terminal velocity.
But I would like to do it safely. Probably arrange a meeting point someplace inconspicuous, a couple of blocks from the tower, where Skull can be waiting with the speeder.
Okay.
As my getaway driver.
Nobody should try to steal your car with him sitting in the driver's seat of it. Can't say it won't draw an eye or two, but he can park in an alleyway somewhere nearby.
Guy with a knife trying to steal the speeder from Skull.
Jabs him with the knife, clank, rips his arm off, beats him to death with it.
Exactly. He's an excellent security system. I mean, I think I can get on at least. Hopefully in. The problem is getting back out. I mean, I could just kind of do the whole thing as a smash and grab, I guess. Try and just, like, do it with such force and fury that, like, hopefully I can be gone by the time they're murdering me. If only I had a lightsaber, that would be something for cutting my way into and out of every place. But that would be... You could pull off a whole heist like this just for a lightsaber at this point in Star Wars history. So I don't think the Nebula Syndicate just has one of those lying around. This whole thing's just... Why is the Nebula Syndicate just like, yeah, sure, we got this?
Well, as you've learned in your brief soiree of jobs with these Duros, it seems like they seem to punch above their weight class a lot, and they don't seem to be any the wiser that it's so far above their weight class. They seem effective, but foolhardy and cocksure.
That's why I'm probably leaving Nar Shadaa after this. I don't think I would necessarily want to keep working with these lads.
I don't see whatever for. They seem like great employers to me.
Oh, they pay well, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, because kind of what I'm thinking at this point is, I guess, kind of a halo jump onto the roof of the building. Because I think I stand a better chance of that than, like, a speeder. Of, like, just, like, flying up to the edge and then jumping off onto it. Somebody would probably notice that. But, like, yeah, kind of halo jumping onto the building, halo jumping off of the building. It's the whole section in the middle that's, like, might just have to be...
What are you going to jump off of? Sorry, to land up there?
That speeder. I mean, anybody could, like... It would not be hard for somebody to just, like, fly over it super high. These guys like punching above their weight class. They've probably got
some metal.
They've probably got somebody that'd be willing to do that. But it's a whole bit in the middle. That's the problem. It's getting from step 1 to step 3. That's the problem.
It's a 3-step plan. Step 1, step 3, easy. Step 2, dear God.
Step 2 might involve... I don't want it to just be a straight fight, but I'm also not necessarily stealthy.
You're agile, right? Or is it cunning that you use for stealth in this system? I think it's agility.
It's agility.
Yeah. It'll be fine.
I wouldn't necessarily mind... I don't have any other rules in front of me. I'd have to go dig my laptop out, look them up. But there are, like, stealth suits and, like, stuff like that. Something like that wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing, but I think they're also very expensive.
And the high-end ones definitely are.
And I don't think they provide much protection. So I just don't... That may not be a thing that I can get a hold of for this job. I mean, this place probably has, like, fire alarms and vibro fire alarms and stuff like that.
You think this place probably has anything you can come up with for defensive measures or security systems? There's a decent chance this thing has access to.
Well, yeah, but, like, fire alarms or stuff like that could be useful just for, like... Yeah. Making sure there's a panic to complicate the response. And
well, if you want to track down a Sakian shadow suit for 2,500, it adds 2 boost dice to stealth checks. It is sewn from the silk of the Umbra spider.
Sounds comfortable. The finest spider silk. It'll be stuck to your hands forever. I could technically afford that.
But could you find it?
But, I mean, this would probably be the place, or a place to find it. Just not necessarily quickly. And it does take a good chunk out of my credits. What's armor-wise? Does it provide any amount of... One soak? Mm-hmm. So I'd just be losing my defense.
Or for 4,800, and a rare, you could find a Banten Corp Mark I Night Stalker infiltration suit. Lightweight yet durable suit of armor combines decent protection with light and sound dampening materials that result in a stealth-enhancing suit. It is very rare, but adds an automatic success to stealth checks. Add an automatic disadvantage to social skill checks.
I pretty much have that anyway. I mean, either one of those I could technically afford. The one that adds 2 boost die wouldn't be the worst. But at the same time, I don't necessarily think it matters. It may not end up mattering because of some of the other security systems and stuff in place.
I mean, just as also by the nature of your plan, if you're going to be like jumping onto the roof of this thing and sawing a hole through the glass, landing down quietly may not matter for your immediate surround. Like the stealth check may not be the most important role you're making after that.
Mm-hmm. Does the Nebula know anybody crazy enough to just go start a fire in this building?
Probably not. Not in this building. Like, the fact that they're very willing to punch above their weight class, clearly. But that doesn't mean all their employees are. And have me like, hey, you want to go die? But stir shit up on your way doing it?
That's all some people want.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my plan at the moment is kind of to wait until one of those times that the Big Papa Hutt is out touring the city.
Okay.
Hopefully to take a little bit of...
The pleasure barge is out and about.
Yeah, hopefully to just take a little bit of the security force away, and hopefully everybody will be a little more willing to be lax when the boss isn't there in the building.
A fair bit of logic.
And I guess just that, when the Nebula Syndicate gives the call that, Big Papa Hutt has left the building, or whatever the code word they decide to use over the radio is. It probably won't be that. It seems a little obvious. Then I'll get Skull and the speeder in position. If that speeder has the altitude, I guess Skull could always just be the one to drop me off.
You think that the one you have, there's a decent chance it's not going to be able to get that kind of altitude, but you could certainly get a driver and one from the Nebula Syndicate who would do a screaming pass over the top of this tower and let you jump out of his car.
Yep.
That certainly could be arranged.
So then, obviously using my concealing robes. Not that that'll probably help me. Probably won't help me much.
Of course.
And with whatever, jump pack or glide pack or gravity chute or whatever the Nebula Syndicate can get a hold of for me, we'll just go nuts and we'll figure out step 2 along the way. Because I have no idea. I'm not set up for this. It'd be a lot different if I was a slicer or a smuggler who was full of himself, or if I was a smuggler with the confidence to be like, I can just walk in there and talk my way through, get a uniform, and
of course.
Figure it out as I go.
If you were Dev, you would just smooth talk your way straight into a nice pool of freshly drying carbonite.
But just ankle deep, so they can still chuck you in the bay.
Exactly. So you can be eaten by a vibro shark. Everything in Star Wars.
You can feel it's coming because of the tremors in the water.
That's right.
It's like a phone. It's a phone vibrating to the tune of Jaws.
Man.
I did. This is a terrible plan. This is as far as I make it. Who knows what my next character will be? Maybe a character. Maybe a character with some slicing and charisma skills.
Well, if you do that, then I'm going to put you in the ring. I'm just going to make it be combat after combat.
That's fine.
Sometimes you just introduce problems that characters are really well suited for, so that they get to be awesome. And then you sometimes give problems that the characters are not suited at all to solve, and you watch the hilarity ensue. All right, you'll have access to a guy with a car you can jump out of, as well as a sort of kind of a like not a squirrel suit, but something that will slow your descent. Probably more of like an over-the-shoulder like cloak kind of thing that'll have some sort of like artificial gravity or anti-grav wells built in with it that you can trigger at certain times. And whatever else you'd like to have with you. Skull will be parked nearby in your junker speeder.
I got a heavy blaster rifle with a stun setting. I got these explosives that I borrowed just in case. Toolkit. Vibro knife. Even though, for me, using the heavy blaster rifle on stun would just be quieter. Just stabbing a guy a bunch with
it would be more effective, not necessarily quieter. A knife is always going to be quieter than a blaster, even on the stun setting. But
right.
You're definitely more effective with a heavy blaster.
I'm going to double check it. I'm pretty sure you can't. Maybe you can. At least in here, there might not be any rules against it.
Against what?
Using stun on auto fire? His initial target must always be target with highest difficulty and highest defense. Initial must always be against the initial target. Yeah, I don't... According to the stun rules, at least in the item qualities section, I think you can auto fire with stun.
That's what the rules say. Works for me.
Well, I think it's more that the rules don't say you can't.
If that's what the rules don't say, sure.
So let's rely on that and let it give me undue confidence for this. Terrible, terrible plan. Are you keeping track of time, by the way? Or...
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if you were just going to cut these up like I have the other ones, or...
I kind of
like it with the intros and outros. So.
Mm-hmm. It's worth doing.
Makes it my job a little bit easier. Yeah, that's the plan. I'm interested to see what's about to happen. How far I make it, which is going to be probably not far at all.
All right. You are able to be brought up, and this person's like, I'm not parking up here, so Get ready. Approaching the drop site. He's driving what is basically that yellow speeder car thing from Star Wars Episode 2. Like a little two-seater thing. And he is hauling ass. He kind of eases off a little bit as he's pulling over the top of this tower, and gives you a nod.
I chuck myself out the side of the speeder. You were hoping for second thoughts?
I clearly didn't get any, so hopes don't matter here. There is no new hope. Not on the moon of crime. You jump over the edge of this and are flying down. I assume you're going to kind of wait till pretty close to the roof of this thing to activate it. Go ahead and give me a vigilance.
Just flat vigilance?
An easy vigilance.
Vigilance is willpower, but I have a rank.
And go ahead and make the
has
purple a
rank
red. So there's a chance of catastrophic.
I would like to think that
this is a very good chance.
I've got the advantage here. I shouldn't have said anything out loud. 1 success, 1 threat.
Okay. You are able to activate it at like a really good timing to where you're get very close to the building before you activate it. Close enough that it makes you a little nervous, but you're still all right. And you have that like sudden stop and slow and thump onto the outside of the glass. And who knows what that threat was? I don't know.
There's not just a guard standing there.
No.
Right.
Not immediately evident, although where you're at here, there's like vibro blinds. There's blinds that are like drawn, so there might be someone on the other side of this that heard a thump.
I'm sure birds run into this thing all the time. If there are any birds left on this horrible planet, they're just sucking on the glass. Yeah. Well, they like to suck on power cables, but they do sometimes just stick to glass in cinematic and horrible fashion, usually right next to your head. As I'm like falling in towards this, did it look like there was any balconies or anything around this top floor?
It does not.
Okay.
It looks like there is, like, the top is, like, wider than the rest of the tower below it, and probably has a little more space and stuff inside of it, and it seems like it's like an arcing thing of glass that you could probably walk right up to and look out over the city, but it all seems to be internal. You think that a balcony at this height would be pretty miserable for like wind and speeders buzzing overhead and stuff like that, like
and smog
from the factories and city. Like you think that being up here unprotected from glass would be a pretty unpleasant experience, which is what you are currently experiencing outside of the glass.
I would like
as wind is ripping around you and
I'd like to get to kind of one of the edges of the glass. I don't want to like cut a hole just right in the center.
Okay.
I'd like to do it someplace a little more subtle, even though the blinds are drawn, so I can't really
really know. Yeah.
Just assume that this is probably more subtle than over there, and try and use the try and just use the arc cutter and try and somewhat quietly. I mean, like it's not like I can't like. There's only so much I can do. Like, it's not going to be like whisper silent. But like trying to just avoid loud, extraneous loud noises, and try and just see if I can cut a hole big enough to fit, I guess.
Okay. For the sake of this, we'll call it a hard mechanics check. If you fail, you don't fail at the task. It's just for how efficient and quiet you are at doing the task.
I really should put some ranks.
Do you have the thing that like remove? And I will give you a setback die for being on the outside of a building super high up. But do you have
I will use Gearhead to remove the setback die.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure you just recently got something that would take that away. You would have a setback die as well here because there's wind ripping around outside of this place, but you get to take that away.
The real question is, do I want to immediately flip that destiny point back? Because look, that's what I'm dealing with.
That's your
3 purple. Because if it's hard, it's 3 purple, and then only 1 green and 1 upgraded yellow die, which isn't great, and that puts it a little bit more into my favor. In theory.
Okay.
Yep, I'm gonna
upgrade it.
1 success, 1 threat.
Okay. So, with that, you're going to be able to do it efficiently. You don't know exactly how quiet it was on the inside, but you're not toying around with it for a very long time.
On the inside, it sounds like somebody running a jackhammer over a gong. But up here in the wind, I can't hear
you can't hear anything. Then you hear goom, 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 goom. Yeah, that's so fucking hilarious. I love that. But you are able to pretty quickly carve a hole and drop through this glass and out of the horrific elements inside of which, go ahead and...
Turns out there's a huge party going on in here. There's like 100 people.
But, nevertheless, it was not exactly in your favor there, but dice do is dice do. You land down. Go ahead and roll me a perception. We'll call it an average perception check.
1 failure, 1 advantage.
You don't perceive anybody, but you think that's because there's probably no one in this area right now to perceive. Where you land is a kind of lounge area that has a bar kind of up just past it, like a little bar top thing where people can walk up and grab drinks, and there's kind of like a nice little lounge here. One very large cushion that has like some gross like sloughed off goo and scales on it. That's probably where Gracchus sits. And you can see what looks like a currently like powered down bartender droid behind the desk of it that's just kind of sitting there in like a sleep mode. But there's one set of double doors to your right that leads out of the room, and then 2 single doors on the kind of left side of the room that lead out of this room, all of which are closed, and there doesn't seem to be anybody inside of this room at the moment. You seem to have carved into a place where no one noticed or no one was present at the time.
I'll start with the 2 single doors, even though I think the double door is more likely, but I'll start with the 2 single doors.
Okay. The one on the left or the one on the right first?
The one on the left.
Okay, you open it up. It's the latrine.
Gross.
There is multiple toilets, one of which Hutt-sized. And however they expunge their waste, that apparatus is there to assist in the process.
Horrible.
I think that your magic can come up with worse than what I will immediately come up with, so let your mind wander.
Yep. Moving on before my mind wanders.
The other door opens into what appears to be... And the other door, it's a single door, but it's a fairly large door. Like, all these doors a Hutt could fit through, so they're pretty decent-sized doors. And it appears to open into what looks like a bedroom attached to this. You don't know if this is, like, Gracchus's, like, personal bedroom or not. It's definitely got a big enough bed that he could sleep in it, but it doesn't seem particularly opulent.
Is there anything on display in here at all, or?
Looking around in here, there seems to be quite a bit of artwork on the walls, and you can kind of notice similarly in the in the bar area itself, there's quite a bit of artwork that denotes like Jedi things. Like there's a lot of artwork that seems very Jedi inspired around the place, and inside of here you can also see what looks like, I mean, whether your character understands this fully or not, what looks like a cut-in-half lightsaber that's, like, mounted on, a bracketed thing that's on the wall. It doesn't look like there's any, like, crystal or anything inside of this, but there's, like, a cut-in-half lightsaber. That thing that has, like, some of the components, like, stretched out in the gaps between it that kind of shows some of the inner workings of it.
Neat, I guess. Not what I'm here for. Moving on. Plenty of other characters would just steal it and try and rebuild it later. Me? Except what I would do is mount it in Skull's arm, so that way he can...
could punch and then turn it off.
Right, or he can grapple somebody with the Ascension Kit and just pull it with a lightsaber.
A shock fist lightsaber grapple punch. Pretty hardcore.
Yeah. If I knew what a lightsaber was, it'd be a thought for later. Let's try the double doors. The double doors in particular, I kind of want to be careful with. I think they're more likely to lead somewhere populated.
Walking up to them, they appear to be sealed, though you have the controls on this side to unseal them with no check. You don't know if there's anyone outside of it or not, but it seems like there maybe is no one like in this room guarding it, because someone would literally have to like jump out of a car and carve a hole in a roof to get inside of it. Like, there's only really one way to get into this area, and you seem to have made a second.
I'll kind of ready the heavy blaster rifle before I hit the button, just in case there is somebody standing on the other side.
Okay.
That's what I got.
What does that mean?
best to move forward with utmost confidence.
Well,
because that way I'll make it farther than...
That's what it is. That is what it is. I rolled that, and that is what it is. You walk up, and you're like, bless you know, door opens. You just do a little peek out. There is a person on one side of the door of you who seems to have been walking past and happens to be like just in front of you, basically, like turning to see you. You can see them right in front of you, and you can see to your left down the hall what looks like two big Gamorreans who took immediate note of this door opening and someone walking out of it. And that's the only people you see at this exact moment. And I would like to have you go ahead and roll me... No one gets to roll cool. It's vigilance is all around. Nobody saw anything coming. So.
Vigilance all around.
Vigilance all around. The security guard has that in vigilance, and
nice.
They have that in vigilance. That seems about right. So he will roll that. Okay, not bad. Okay. What'd you got? 2
success, 1 triumph.
All right, you are first. There's the security guard right next to you. Taking a look, he appears to be... he looks like private security. Like, he looks like a step above a street brute kind of looking feller. He appears to be in like an armored uniform, and he is holding a, like, what would essentially be a, like, laser riot gun. I think it's probably something that can auto-fire as, like, a heavy ranged weapon. And the 2 Gamorreans appear to have, like, some sort of kind of crude Gamorrean vibro axes.
I mean, at this point I should probably just shoot them, so that... Although then again... Strain might be better because they're less likely to just, like... It's not necessarily a great chance that they'll take a hit from a heavy blaster rifle and just keep trucking. Then again, the stun's also only... What range are we talking about? Like, from me to the Gamorreans?
From you to the Gamorreans, from everyone is short.
Okay.
In this area.
Either way, I'm going to be... Like, I'm going to be auto-firing either way. I'm just trying to decide if I'm going to do lethal or non-lethal.
Okay.
So, the auto-fire check is essentially made against the person with the highest difficulty to hit. Mm-hmm. Or is it all the same? Or
no, technically it'll be harder to hit the security guard because he's got armor.
Okay. Just a setback die for that? Okay.
So it'll be a regular ranged attack against him because he's walked just a little past the door and they're the opposite side over there.
And short range is 1 difficulty, yes. Right?
If you're auto-firing, though, you'll have to give yourself a second difficulty die.
Right.
It increases the difficulty by 1 to auto-fire.
But that's what I'm going to do. I will get 1 free...
1 second.
I guess I'm rolling this as your attack roll.
Yep. What a stressful time to walk away.
Haha! That helps with the auto-fire. 1 success, 1 triumph.
So no auto.
No auto-fire, because it just counts as an extra success, right? The triumph doesn't count as...
It's a success, but you'll just have to read what you can spend it on, because you might be able to, like, activate weapon qualities with it. I don't remember. That might be one of the things it says.
Activate an item quality.
There you go.
Well, that's... Yes, activate an item quality.
I don't remember because of the cut that hopefully we made in the middle of this, so no one knows that I just walked away and took a phone call or whatever. But are you doing stun?
No.
Are you going for kill? Okay.
I'm going... These guys have seen me... Like, the idea with using stun is like, I'm behind this guy and he hasn't seen me yet. Or like, these people haven't seen me yet. These people have seen me, so I'm just going to shoot them. I don't want to screw myself over worse than I already am by doing this whole thing. I don't want to have Hutts trying to kill me the whole rest of the campaign, if possible.
Ideally.
Just like half the campaign. So with 1 success and the triumph, that is 2 hits. So we'll do this close guy and one of the Gamorreans for 12 damage apiece.
12 damage apiece. Let me take a look at some numbers here. I think that it should work just fine. He's got so dead. But the Gamorreans are pretty thick. It was how much damage?
12.
12. Okay. So they will soak. Okay. So you light up and blast across here, and it kills the dude next to you, and a shot goes into the Gamorrean down at the end of the hall, and he lets out a loud squeal, but is not dead.
Damn.
And then it's the guy who's dead's turn. And then it's the 2 Gamorrean. Oh, are you doing anything with your maneuver?
They can close a short range band pretty quickly. Does this hallway go both directions?
It does. For you to, it seems like it kind of wraps around the other direction. So you might lose visual on them if you round the corner there.
Yeah, that's... I just don't want to take 2 Vibroaxe attacks from Gamorreans. So I guess I'll... But there's no way I'm going to be able to get to a medium range band.
It seems like it's always going to be short, unless after it winds. Because it seems like this hallway kind of winds around the room that you were just in. So, I mean, eventually it probably either stops or straightens out. Deeper in.
Guess I'm staying where I am. I'm not thrilled about it, but I guess I'm staying where I am.
Okay. The Gamorreans are going to charge you because they're Gamorreans. And you're going to have a couple of Vibroaxe attacks coming at you. Which will be... Can you look up the Pierce item quality for me really quick?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure every point of Pierce just ignores a point of Soak.
Okay.
Yep. If there's extra Pierce past Soak, it's just ignored.
So...
It's going to be much damages.
It's going to be 10 damage from the first one. And it will ignore 2 soak. So,
okay, so
basically 12 damage.
So I'll take 8.
And he is going to critically injure you. Because he got a triumph. And we'll use that to critical with this.
True.
And he has the vicious 3 on the axe, so it'll add 30 to the critical injury roll, which I believe is a percentile dice.
I believe you are right, but let's... Here we go. Yes.
So it'll be 64.
64. Slightly dazed. The target is disoriented until the end of the encounter.
Okay. I'll look at that really quick. Sorry.
Critical injuries. Severity.
After ending the contract, the character may spend 2 advantages to disoriented targets set at a setback die to all skill checks. You're equal to a number. So you'll just have a setback die on all skill checks. As he comes up and he swings this big axe swing at you, and it hurts. The second one will also hit, but not as bad, and it will be 8.
With the 2... 8 and then Pierce 2?
Yeah, 8 with Pierce 2.
Okay, so... I'm dropping that to 6.
They both come up and one is very injured and one is not injured yet, but they both swing and they both hit, one of which hits quite brutally.
Oh. Can you even make ranged heavy attacks at close range? Yes, you can. That was something you were talking about, but it's much
but
harder.
It's a hard check at engaged. But now that they've moved up, you could technically maneuver to move away from them. Is there a tax of opportunity in this?
I can never remember either.
I don't think so. I don't think there is. I think there might be like skills or something. For the sake of this, we'll say no. You could technically move away from them and still have them within your range. Like, you can move to short range with your maneuver.
Engage with ranged heavy +2 difficulty.
Although, it's probably also a maneuver to, like, use a stim pack if you wanted to do something like that. Which may be a worthwhile endeavor.
Were you? I guess it doesn't really matter now. Did they both have setback dice from my 1 defense on those?
Ooh, they did not. I did not know that. I forgot that you have one.
That's fine. I forgot as well until just now. So forget about it.
Just re-rolled it, and it would have been worse if I had done it. On the second one, at least. The second one would have also criticaled you with a triumph. Oh. So it's better to know that you only got 1 injury.
Yes, but they will have setback dice.
Yes, I will make sure to apply that.
Not that it may end up mattering all that much. See, the problem is if I try and auto-fire to just kill the 2 of them, I will be making that check at...
a 4 difficulty?
Yeah.
To use auto-fire? Yeah. I mean, if you use your maneuver to move away and then auto-fire, it'll be at 2 difficulty. Because this will be auto-fire at short range, but you won't be able to then use the stim pack.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's kind of...
And I just don't think I can take another... I don't think I can take 1 more hit. On account of how 2 hits have dropped me to 3 out of 17. That was right next to the mic. That
probably didn't sound
loud.
Great. These Gamorreans are a step above your average Gamorrean.
I guess I'll... quick draw the heavy blaster pistol.
Okay. Incidental to get it out.
Mm-hmm. And shoot at the injured one.
Okay.
And then I'll use a stim pack
afterwards. All right. Go ahead and make... So that'll be engaged, but with that blaster pistol, so it'll just be 2 difficulty, I believe.
And a setback die for being slightly dazed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm slightly worse than this than with heavy blaster rifle. 2 failures, 3 advantages.
Got some advantage to spend.
He's going to drop the Vibro Axe.
Okay. One of them drops the Vibro Axe.
And then I'll stab myself with a Stim-Pack, which I believe is 5 wounds back.
So, we'll say for sake of this, like, you quick draw and you blasted this and it hits his hand, and it's not, like, enough to cause him, like, an injury, but makes him, like, drop the axe at his feet. And I'll let you kind of, like, step over it, too, to where, like, he's going to have to move you to pick it back. He can't just pick it back up and hit you with it right away.
Here's where I find out that
he's a much better brawler.
Yeah, these Gamorreans are like that. Remember that really cringy sort of news thing about the dude with the katana?
Oh, God.
You know what I'm talking about?
I know.
It turns out these Gamorreans are like that guy, where they use the vibro axes as a form of restraint.
Exactly.
Because if they just used their hands and fists,
kill everyone in their path. Well, so first is the vibro axe, and it will be a failure with an advantage. He can spend an advantage. What can he spend it to do? Can he give his friend like a blue?
I believe he can, yes.
With 1 advantage, so we'll say that. He'll give his friend a blue. which will be still against a purple and a black. But he is using his brawl, not his melee, which let's see if that's different. It's the same. Not the same damage, but the same. What the heck? Where did that just come from? The same roll. 1 advantage. Okay. Not a whole lot. I mean, the purple die did a lot of work there, and all the other dies just didn't really do a whole lot anyway. I guess the one that's still got an axe will have a blue on his next check.
Uh-oh.
So this next turn might matter a whole lot.
Okay. Guess we're just running it back. Same attack again.
Okay.
On this wounded one.
The wounded one? And the wounded one is the one who's got fisticuffs out right now.
Yes. 1 success, 2 advantages, which is 9 damage.
That's enough to finish the job.
And I might as well spend those 2 advantages because they'll matter. I'll add a blue to my next check. Or perform an immediate free maneuver that does not exceed the 2 maneuvers per turn limit.
Could do another stim pack. Did you aim or anything with your other maneuver? Your base maneuver?
I did not. I just shot. So technically, I have 2 maneuvers. But that doesn't really do me any good right now, so I'll just give myself a blue on the next
check.
Next check, I think.
Okay.
I need to mark down that I've only got 1 stim pack left. Should pick up a couple more of those.
And if you wanted to use one, you could, because you still have your maneuver for this turn, but it'd do 4.
4 instead of 5, yeah.
So are you doing that? Are you doing anything else with this turn, or is it transitioning over to
No. Unless he, super hits me, I think I can take...
You can take
I can take 1 more hit if I have to.
Okay. Well, he will have this, and he will still have the blue die. The dying squeals of his friend rally him to his next attack. Whoa, that's a big hit.
Well, maybe I can take another hit.
Every die did a lot on that one. I think that's going to be... 9. Yeah, 9.
9 with Pierce 2. So I'm soaking 2, so I'm taking 7.
Mm-hmm.
Was that enough to count as a critical?
No, he can't. He did their critical ratings 4, and he got 3 advantage. So he used the triumph to crit you last time. So he doesn't get to do an injury, but he will use that to give himself a blue. Because you have to spend 2 to do that, and the other will be to give another friend a blue that you don't recognize or something. There's no one else immediately here, so he can't really spend the other one. He'll have a blue on his next check, and he'll recover a strain. He doesn't have any strain missing, but that's what he's going to do. So, including the active character. Yeah. So, add a blue to his next, and then it'll go back to you.
Okay. I am going to... Neither option's good here. At all. If I get hit at all, I go down. So he either needs to die this turn, or I need to... if I use this impact, maybe he rolls one up that he doesn't kill me, but I kind of doubt that. So I will...
There's always a stun setting.
There's always a stun setting.
Maybe he'll be more likely to be able to be stunned than he is to be killed.
I could just kill him afterwards.
The stun setting does not make you immune to damage after you use it.
I'll use stun.
Okay.
But I'm not going to aim because I'm going to use a stim pack. My last stim pack. Immediately after I take a shot at him, assuming I don't somehow take 1 damage while shooting at him.
Okay.
Just 1 threat. That 1 green really didn't show up.
He's going to spin that threat for you to understand that it's very threatening what he's about to try and do to you. Nothing needs to be spent with you. The threat of this situation is this situation.
Going up to 5. And erasing my stim pack.
Well,
That's...
I rolled it with his
got...
blue, and that is 3 advantages. So... Current round, well, that doesn't do any good. He'll give himself a blue again. None of the 3 ones really do him much good. Because you've got 2 guns, so why knock one out of your hand? And all the other stuff's like, if you damage them, do this. So 3 advantage. The advantage does not do it.
Okay, here's attempt 2 on the stun setting. No, you know what? This time I'm going to back up to make the shot slightly easier.
Okay, you'll use your maneuver to move away.
I don't have any stimbacks to use maneuvers on anymore. 2 advantages.
I think you can make him have another setback die with that.
Which is probably what I'm going to do. Yep.
Okay. Well, that's a weird result. 2 failures, an advantage, and a triumph. So he doesn't hit, but he does have a triumph to spend. What an idiot fight. He's going to upgrade his next check.
Uh-oh.
He's going to upgrade it, which would
That
mean like turning a green to a yellow, right?
Yeah, that's a potential for multiple trials.
There is a chance.
So I move away
from him. He moves up,
right.
Swinging it. And as you kind of round around the corner, you can see that it goes probably like 1 more range band away and ends in another set of doors.
With 2 more Gamorreans standing
No. It seems like the Gamorreans are maybe guarding a specific room, so...
Well, I kind of figured it's like I poke my head up, it's like, well, I probably need to go through there. You know, with the 2 angry, screaming pigmen trying to murder me.
Mm-hmm.
Guess I'm backing up 1 more range band. Trying again.
This is your last range band you can back up before... then you have to start running the other direction.
Yeah.
Oh, 1 failure.
But look at the dice.
There's just nothing. There's just like damn near stone cold nothing.
There's just nothing.
That's just a failure. So you don't get to add anything to it. You still got a setback die because your defense. This he upgraded, but I took away the other. He doesn't get a blue anymore.
What has started happening here?
And I think that's it. Right. Yes. No blue. Okay. Okay. 2 advantage. He misses and adds a blue to his next check.
I wish I could add a blue to my next check. I guess I back up the other way.
He finally gets to you, like heaves up, and you like duck between his legs, dodge roll down the hall, and he's gonna turn around the Huff to chase after you, but.
Ha ha! 3 successes, 2 threats.
The first person in the idiot fight to not suck at. Take some strain with your threats. They'll give you 2 strain.
I deserve it.
Because this has been a very stressful situation, but he is stunned.
I shoot him. And shoot him again.
It takes a couple shots, but eventually you're confident he will not get back up.
I feel terrible.
Got a couple gnarly axe wounds.
Let's go check the door they were guarding.
Okay.
Well, let's search either of them just to make sure they don't have, like, a vibro key or something like that. You know, would a vibro key have helped or hindered that time you snapped a key off in the deadbolt of our house?
If it was a vibro key, that might have helped me open the
Right.
door instead of snapping the key off inside of it. What I needed was some vibro sobriety. That's what I needed. Fortunately, had none of that available. But that's another story for another day. Maybe on a podcast. So, with that, you will go up to that door and... I think that might be where we pause this episode as you get up to the door.
I wasn't worried about what was behind the door until now.
Auto saving. Oh god. But yeah, I think that's where we're going to pause this episode. As you walk up to the door, clearly this door seems to be nicer than the other doors, more opulent. Maybe this leads to something very important. Obviously, there was 2 thick Gamorreans in front of it, so there's a decent chance it does have some importance beyond it.
Stupid back and forth.
And we'll pause there, and we will see you guys all in the next one with our bloodied bounty hunter on his way into the possible room of suite of Gracchus the Hutt. See you next time.